Hello everybody, this is Pat once again doing a response video to James Baber and his channel devoted to defeating Adventism. This is a response to short number 27. Adventist Ellen White does not understand the Bible. 2 Thessalonians 2, 9 through 10. Let's see what James is cooking up today. I really love how James does his videos because the way that he gets his point across is so subtle. So subtle.
And it is time again for another biblical massacre of the Bible that Ellen White will do in this really silly and heretical book called The Great Controversy.
The Great Controversy. All right, he's talking about this bad boy right here. Just wanted to confirm I've also got a copy.
She cites 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and she sees a sequence of events.
I also see a sequence of events, regardless of whether or not he and I agree as to what that sequence is. There is actually a sequence.
Let's look at what she says here. Read along with me. Paul testifies that before the second advent of Christ, there will be a similar manifestation of satanic power. The coming of the Lord is to be preceded by the working of Satan.
All right, the way that he said that, without reading the entire paragraph, to me, implies that James is suggesting that Jesus is going to do something before Satan. And to be honest with you, I don't see how that's a problem with the futurist camp. I don't know a single futurist Christian that doesn't think that Jesus is going to not come before Satan shows up because they believe in the rapture. And they believe in this idea that the Jews are going to rebuild the temple and Satan's going to go in and defile it or some such nonsense like that after the rapture. So that in turn is a sequence based on the way that James worded this. It says, the coming of the Lord is to be preceded by the working of Satan, which kind of makes sense for the futurist camp. Jesus is going to come before Satan's work.
Preceded. She sees a sequence of events. Is that what the Bible says? Look with me here at 2 Thessalonians and read along. It says, the coming of the lawless one is by the activity of Satan with all power, false signs, and lying wonders.
All right, so when I read this, first of all, John the Revelator in chapter 13 actually refers to this section of the Bible when he's writing chapter 13. However, if we just simply read the underlined portion that James has right here, it is a sequence. The word coming actually proves that it's a sequence. It says, the coming of the lawless one is by. Okay, the word by is to infer result. The coming of the lawless one is a result of the activity of Satan with all power and false signs and wonders. All right, that is a sequence. Satan does this stuff, and as a result, this person shows up. That is a sequence, James.
Keep reading. You do not see a sequence of events in 2 Thessalonians 2:9. Ellen White sees it. The Bible doesn't see it. This woman is, again, a false teacher.
And James is a liar. I just wanted to read it so that we can get context as to what she said, because she actually references Revelation 13. It says, these persons overlook the testimony of the scriptures concerning the wonders wrought by Satan and his agents. It is the satanic aid that Pharaoh's magicians were enabled to counterfeit the works of God. Paul testifies that before the second advent of Christ, there will be a similar manifestation of satanic power. The coming of the Lord is to proceed by the workings of Satan with all powers and signs and lying wonders and with all deceitfulness and unrighteousness. And then she points to 2 Thessalonians. So it's not that Jesus is going to come before that stuff, but rather, just like the Pharaoh's magicians, they're going to use false signs and wonders that appear to make it seem like Jesus is coming. ahead of time. And then she goes on to talk about Revelation. She says, and the Apostle John described the miracles working power that will be manifested in the last days, declaring, He doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of all men, and deceive them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he hath power to do. Now, regardless of what your perspective is, whether or not it is Jesus rapturing you away before Satan shows up, and or whether it is Satan deceiving people before Jesus shows up, this right here shows a sequence. Satan has an activity which in turn results in the coming of a lawless one. That's a sequence.